What's up, guys, and welcome back to the ESCC. We have another best of one Vici Gaming Potential going up against Energy Pacemaker. EP just lost their previous game, so they might not be feeling the best right now. All the places that are usually keeping track of scores and whatnot, I don't think are currently updated, but I don't think there's any significant front runner. But either way, we'll see. Just a random best of one for right now. I'm Mikelorus, going to be joined by Grandis for this best of one, and well, took long enough. Hopefully we can get back on track, but I don't know if I would really believe in that.
Well, Energy Pacemaker, I believe they're currently sitting at 2-1 as far as standings are concerned, so definitely still in the running, but it is always disheartening to lose a game, but then again, it's a best of one. I don't think it's going to affect them that much. As far as this draft is concerned, it's pretty par for the course, and I expect most of the drafts to look pretty much just like this, with Undying, Leshrac, Clockwork, Tuskband out, and then a first pick Gyrocopter.
And then a Queen of Pain response with a Dazzle? I don't know. There's so many things that you could do, and honestly, like, you could pretty much skip through the first two picks of probably of most of these games, and you wouldn't be surprised at much of it, or any of it, really. Like, Shadow Fiend also, maybe they're going to mix it in EP, but last time they went for a in the last game that they just finished playing, went for a very aggressive, very stun light type of chaotic draft, and maybe they're just gonna try to play a little bit more reserved, get those maybe some defensive heroes, and try to play the long game.
Yeah, that would be nice. Something like an Earthshaker could also crop up in these first couple of picks. But the nice thing about the current metagame, as we've kind of already alluded to, is there's just a lot of good heroes. But Shadow Fiend Earthshaker, this is pretty much what you expect to be seeing. Shadow Fiend, as far as mids are concerned, is fairly easy to gank, but Earthshaker shores up that weakness nicely, offering his defensive fissures.
Yeah, this is one of my perhaps favorite openings, if you have the options, of course. Like, Shaker, just as a mid lane pseudo support hero there, like, just being able to throw a fissure and then having a hero that can follow up. Leshrac and Shadow Fiend, I think, are probably the two best heroes at doing that. If you land a fissure block, Shadow Fiend is almost guaranteed to get two raises off, and that usually is going to get a kill. So just having that offensive combo in the lane, and then of course Earthshaker down the line being a defensive support hero for the Shadow Fiend in case he gets caught out of position. It's a nice little combo, and it works very well at multiple stages of the game. There's no reason why you shouldn't pick those two up, especially as a duo. And for Vici, well, they're going to pick up a Gyrocopter first, so definitely looking for some sort of stun setup so that the Gyrocopter can stay close to his targets for that Rocket Barrage in lane.
Yeah, for sure, but instead they're going to pick up a Winter Wyvern right now. It's pretty much just one really heavy damage dealer and one defensive support apiece for both of these teams. Even though Winter Wyvern isn't going to be offering that setup early on, when you have that Winter's Curse, the fallout from Gyrocopter can be absolutely devastating.
Yeah, it's definitely something to be scared of. EP, they do have a good amount of magical damage right now, and they'll be dissuaded from going into additional physical damage, but it's a Winter Wyvern. She, I think, does okay in lane, not exactly the strongest lane controller, but Vici Gaming, if they do want to drag this game out a little bit longer, then Winter Wyvern really shows her value there. Just because, well, in scaling of Winter Wyvern as far as support heroes go, I would say at the top, if not near the top.
Yeah, BKB Piercing, Ultimate Disable, a heal that scales great for sieging, and just in general, a really good hero. Against the Shadow Fiend early on, although the Cold Embrace can be a bit of a double-edged sword later on, can really bail out your allies. We're going to see Darkseer Lina banned out by Vici Gaming Potential and Spirit Breaker by Energy Pacemaker.
It's actually really surprising that Quap is still not being touched right now. It's probably not going to be picked up by EP at this point because they have a Shadow Fiend, but for Vici, they know that it's most likely going to be a Shadow Fiend plus half an Earthshaker in the mid lane. There aren't really many great heroes that you would want to throw up against that. Like we saw in the previous game that we casted, the combos of Earthshaker plus one can absolutely demolish a lane, even if it is a weaker lane to start things off, like it was Storm Earthshaker versus Leshrac. Leshrac didn't stand a chance.
Yeah, even though in a vacuum Queen of Pain would do pretty nicely against the Shadow Fiend, you can't really go aggressive into the Shadow Fiend if you don't know where the Earthshaker is. If you blink in and get caught out by a Fissure double raise, that's pretty much a dead Quap. So I think this game, more than most, Vici Gaming will probably shy away from those squishier mid lane heroes.
It's not too late to grab an IO pair. Perhaps that's something that they're going to be a little bit more interested in. run a dual lane. Gyrocopter is a perfectly self-sufficient hero in and of itself, but EP, they're going to grab a Storm Spirit, so maybe a little bit of flexibility perhaps in this mid lane, but definitely a lot of aggressive pick-off potential with the Storm Spirit, and of course everyone who's going to be following that Storm Spirit in. So, I like the pick for Energy Pacemaker. It leaves their options open. It forces VG Gaming to grab a little bit more CC, and the Winter Wyvern has that curse, which down the line is very deadly. Early on, she doesn't really have anything that could help against the Storm Spirit when he's zipping all around.
Even the Gyrocopter would be a reasonable IO partner to go back on that note, but in general, I don't think that, I don't know, it would be a great idea for VG Gaming to go for that. Winter Wyvern and IO, as far as support duos are concerned, is incredibly defensive, and they can't set up things by themselves. Although they could draft around it, it might be too risky.
It's pretty sweet, though, when you have the IO tethering someone, and then you embrace the IO, and you get a ridiculous amount of heals. Like, you kind of have to sacrifice your entire early game to get that combo, so it's probably not going to be worth it all the time. But the fact that you can do something ridiculous like that, man, always got to keep that in mind. But yeah, they definitely do need a little bit more poking. Up against the Storm Spirit Shadow Fiend, you definitely don't want to give them a free time. And I would assume it's going to be a safe lane Storm Spirit. That just seems to be where he's more oftenly seen as compared to a Shadow Fiend. Vici Gaming, as far as their off-lane options are concerned, well, there's been a lot of off-lane hate in this game. There aren't really many left in the pool, let alone heroes that can contest the Storm Spirit.
Yeah, at the very least, most of the top-tier offlaners have been taken away, but Vici Gaming for now are going to pick up a Bounty Hunter, probably going to be played as a roaming support.
Alright, so Bounty Hunter looking to get those pickoffs, looking to get those courier sniped, and then we have a Naga Siren for EP. If this is carry Naga Siren, I think I'm just going to quit and go to sleep right now, because that might just be a better usage of my time. But we've been seeing a lot more support Siren nowadays. I mean, the song is great for repositioning, especially when you have someone like a Shadow Fiend, but I personally like Naga Siren a little bit more when you have someone who's a little bit more important to net down, like those melee BKB carries. Then Naga Siren gets ridiculous.
Especially when paired with the Earthshaker as the other support. Naga Siren's going to feel really clunky this game. It's a dual melee support combo, and even though they do have reasonable long-range ways to initiate things, it feels like Naga Siren here is picked up almost exclusively for the song to reset after a Winter's Curse.
Yeah, that's definitely worthwhile. Like, if you could draw out one of these ultimates from Vici, maybe not the Bounty Hunter track, anything but that, though. Draw out the Winter's Curse, draw out the Call Down, and then as soon as you see those, just pop the song and then reset the entire fight. That could pretty much instantly win you the fight, just because the enemy side won't have much else in the tank once that actually happens. So there's definitely a lot of upside here for the Naga Siren, but that upside has to get through this early game, and when you have potential two melee supports, then, heroes like Gyrocopter get ridiculous with that Rocket Barrage. Heroes like Bristleback are going to absolutely truck through it. I don't know about this Naga Siren pick, unless it's going to be farming, but even then, kind of boring, and Vici Gaming have enough to pressure it, so I'm liking Vici Gaming draft just a little bit more right now.
Yeah, I especially like this Bristleback pick. With two melee supports, the Earthshaker probably not even going to be in the bottom lane for much of the early game. The Storm Spirit's going to be open and be pressured by an offlaner. I think this game, more than most, something like a Phoenix or Bristleback, one of your more greedy offlaners, would be really great for Vici Gaming, and the Bristle pick fits the bill there. He's going to be able to apply a lot of pressure and get the farm that Bristle needs to become relevant. With the extra steroid of Bounty Hunter's Gold that he's going to be applied with Track. In general, I think, yeah, Vici Gaming's draft is nice and well-rounded.
Alright, so we'll see what EP actually want to grab to try to shore up this weakness. Two melee supports up against a Bristleback, that's not a good scenario for those two supports, so they're definitely going to look for a little bit more pressure, but hell, Bristleback in the off lane right now, going up against, Earthshaker, Naga Siren, Storm Spirit, any combination of those three, even an additional hero that has yet to be picked up, I don't see the Bristleback having a lot of trouble with that, and the more self-sufficient Bristleback is, that means Bounty Hunter has more opportunities to roam around and get those solo pickoffs, since, the allies of EP aren't likely to be, everywhere at the same time. So EP definitely have to get off to a good start if they want to have a shot in this lane. And if they do somehow manage to drag it to the late game, yeah, they're going to have a pretty good shot, but that's a tall order.
What Vici Gaming's lineup right now is lacking is a reliable way to initiate fights outside of the Winter Wyvern ultimate. It would be nice to see something like a puck for them, I think.
Well, we'll see. Legion Commander being banned out. Sure, I guess Legion Commander is like kind of a counter versus Bristleback, but honestly, if you just get a Silver Edge on anyone, then that could do the job as well. Not sure about that ban. DK ban, definitely a little bit more justified, I think. Vici Gaming, just their ability to deathball, maybe not like straight up push towers and such like that, but definitely something threatening and could give Vici Gaming a very early hold in this game, and then that is something that they could use just to outright win the game. EP, they have just 10 seconds left, so like Witch Doctor or something. They just need some more lane control.
I suppose so. If they go for the Witch Doctor, maybe they just throw the Earthshaker in the offlane. It's not something that we talked about or discussed earlier in the draft, but instead, it's a Beastmaster, so they are just going to be running the Nagasarn and Earthshaker as dual supports.
Man, EP, they have to get their initiations on point every single time. Gyrocopter is, of course, going to be the prime target, but then you also have to occupy Winter Wyvern's time, just because she could instantly bail out the Gyro if he gets into a little bit of trouble. This is 3 melee heroes, and then Storm Spirit, who doesn't have a lot of range, not a lot of lane control within that Storm, up against a Bristleback, now a Magnus. I love this pickup from Vici Gaming, especially punishing the melee-heavy lineup of EP, and it has really good synergy with the Gyrocopter and the Bristleback both.
Yeah, it fills that same role of the puck I was talking about earlier. It's a nice initiating mid. I don't think they really need any more damage, just a good teamfight hero. And yeah, I think that Vici Gaming's lineup is just good and pretty much all of its aspects. The laning stage is going to go pretty smoothly, even though they have somewhat of a greedy support duo. I think just in general, this game should be pretty smooth. Energy Pacemaker rely very heavily on getting fights once they get level 6 on the Beastmaster and getting good initiations from the Storm Spirit. There's a lot of pressure on the individual performance for Energy Pacemaker's players.
Alright, so hopefully we're going to be loading in just fine and everything like that. Gotta quickly fix some stuff on the stream. Haven't used this particular setup in a while. But it looks like we are good to go. So the name of the game is Early Game for EP. Can they weather it? If so, they'll be finding themselves in a pretty good position. If not, well, I don't know if they're going to stand much of a chance. I'm personally favoring Vici Potential's draft. But anyway, on the EP side, we have Xiaotulei on the Beastmaster. Old Chicken is on the Shadow Fiend with LT on the Earthshaker. LE is on the Nagasarn, both supporting, and at least Fawn on the Storm Spirit. And, well, that's just about cover the EP side.
And for Vici Gaming Potential, leading the charge is going to be Dogfight on the Bounty Hunter, Yang on the Bristleback, Lin going to be playing on the Magnus XLL on the Gyrocopter, and last but not least, Winter Wyvern by James.
James on the Winter Wyvern. They're going to block off the pole camp right now, and they're definitely setting themselves up for some aggressive play right now. They don't really have, the greatest heroes for super aggressive play, but hey, you might as well shut down the EPs early game as much as you can just by annoying them, blocking off their camps, etc., etc. If you deny the pull to the Shadow Fiend, to the Beastmaster, then, well, they're going to be a little bit hung up on their farm, and that's pretty much the objective of all these wards being placed by dogfights. And he's even going to go check out the EP side of the map, and I think he was spotted, actually.
Even though Earthshaker has 2 sentries, there's absolutely no way that Energy Pacemaker can feasibly deward all of these camps, and since they did commit 2 wards to the pole camp, there's really not any access to poles, which is mandatory when you're running these melee sports. Bounty Hunter is going to be sticking around in mid, starting out with the Orb of Venom, and they might even have to commit one of those scents into protecting the Shadow Fiend in mid.
Well, the first courier delivery is going to be safe for now. It's going to be a little bit of extra regen. Oh, that's actually spotted. No, okay, Bounty Hunter is just going to go up to the top lane. It's a little bit of extra regen being ferried out right now, but this Observer Ward, can't usually get tabs on that courier, but that's not exactly the point. We'll see if Dogfights is actually able to get anything in this game, but even if he doesn't, I don't think VP are going to be, or VG rather, not VP, are going to be really super bothered about this Bounty Hunter's lack of participation. He could afford to play this game super slowly just because the enemy side will be playing it even slower.
Beastmaster did get a nice block, so he's going to benefit from a nice amount of experience under his tower, hitting his level 2 mark, which is about the same as what the Bristleback is doing, but it's still good.
This Radiant jungle situation is just the worst. Look at this. This is like, you're an Earthshaker, you're poor, you use both your sentries, and you get nothing done. Man, that's gotta sting.
To be fair, the sentry mid might spot out some rotations coming out from the Bounty Hunter, but this Dire Observer Ward that was placed to block the large camp is very rarely dewarded. Usually you will place it just where the Earthshaker did.
Well, looking at the mid lane now, Magnus is going up against that 1.5/dual lane, but Magnus should be just fine. We do have a rotation onto Xiaotulei up towards top. Dogfight does have an Orb of Venom, but it looks like Beastmaster is going to run the other way. This might actually cost him a lot more than if he just ran down the lane, because now with the Arctic Burn and that Orb of Venom, he's taking a beating. He looks like he is fast enough to get away because he does have those boots of speed, but still Beastmaster getting pressured out on heroes that aren't exactly known for their lane control.
Yeah, very annoying in general. Now the bounty hunter is going to sit on the 2-minute rune. Maybe he can snag it from the Earthshaker, or... Oh, nope. Fisher's going to be dropped by LT. He's going to pick up that bounty rune, denied away from the bounty hunter. But in general, I don't think that's a major win. A little bit of mana spent on both sides.
In the meantime, Lin, though, he's found the Naga Siren. He has a haste rune, and he has another Shockwave. That should get the kill shortly, at least. Shockwave throw, not quite there, but I don't think he cares. No, he is actually going to respect the Shadow Fiend's raises. Good idea. You don't want to run a straight line versus a Shadow Fiend, so Naga Siren with her 6 armor, definitely lucky to survive that situation, but dogfights, ooh, rotating in at the perfect time, because there's a poor courier who just has a job that really wants to get it done. But it looks like Naga Siren is actually going to get jumped by the bounty hunter. That's ambitious for a level 1 hero to try to dive a tier 2 tower like that. Gets netted down. LT is there with no mana. It looks like they might not get this bounty hunter. No, they haven't just enough mana for a fissure. One more right click, not going to do it, but the range creep actually does it. And bounty hunter bites off a lot more than he can chew, giving first blood to EP.
Naga Siren used to be played pretty regularly as a support, and one of the big benefits was the early game survivability you got from the large amount of base armor. And having that magic stick, Naga Siren barely limps away. It's going to be a nice advantage for Energy Pacemaker. Not only does the Naga Siren survive, but also the courier ends up not losing its life. Each game potential, we're going to lose a little bit of momentum, but then again, the Bristleback's been left alone down towards bottom lane. Even though he's not farming the greatest, he's still getting a large amount of experience, and they're not losing much in top lane either.
Yeah, so this side lane's going definitely a lot better for Vici. Dogfight's only level 1 as a bounty hunter right now isn't too uncommon, but the fact that he has absolutely no experience is definitely going to be setting him back. He is going to struggle to actually help out this Bristleback here unless EP decide to initiate on the Bristleback. Then things can get definitely turned around. He has that Mango, and that might be just a surprise burst of mana for EP to deal with, but yeah, this bounty hunter is not going to get many levels anytime soon, and that is a problem. Yeah, again, he can play this game a lot slower than usual, but this is a lot slower than usual. He needs to eventually get a track.
He will end up blocking off the medium pull camp, so that's kind of nice. Although that camp is almost impossible to stack with the satyrs inside of it. But yeah, the bounty hunter starting off on the back foot is going to be annoying for Vici, but it's by no means the end of their game plan. As long as he gets involved in a couple of kills soon, that's going to be nice. Mid lane is, however, in the favor of Energy Pacemaker. They're getting a little bit more farm in the Shadow Fiend than the Magnus is getting, even with the Earthshaker soaking a little bit of his experience. This is not to be unexpected, and Magnus constantly has to be careful. He gets hit with 2 raises, but Earthshaker doesn't actually throw the fissure. I think they could have at least gone for it.
Fissure, raise, couple right clicks. At the very least, you force the Magnus into a really defensive, really bad position. Top lane being pushed right now, and the bounty hunter's looking for another opening, but I don't think there's actually an opening here. For the most part, this early game going pretty well, but down towards bottom, Fawn in a lot of trouble, gets hit with the Arctic Burn, is going to go down to the Wyvern. Diving a little bit too deep for that Bristleback, and Storm Spirit not quite that level 6 mark yet, so being punished by a Winter Wyvern TP. Don't see that all that often, but hey, when the enemies are diving that aggressively, you can pretty much teleport anyone in and get that kill.
Especially on a hero like Bristleback. At the moment, that's going to put Vici Gaming potential on the board. 1-1 currently, but the bounty hunter is still only sitting on 31 total experience. This is really just not Dogfight's game. He hasn't found a courier snipe, he hasn't set up any kills, and really just hasn't done anything except for provide intel and place some deep wards, which is useful.
And he doesn't really have anyone on his team who's going to hit like a certain level and then suddenly they get turned on. Someone like a Clockwork who, you know, if you partner up with the Clockwork as a bounty hunter, just join him for a couple of ganks. You can very quickly recover from an early experience deficit, but like Bristleback, he's a very linear hero as far as his power increases. Gyrocopter as well as that Magnus. I guess Blink Dagger is going to be a point where you partner him up and then you get something done, but that's going to be a long ways off. So this bounty hunter is probably not going to get that much done, but hey, for VP, why did I keep saying that? VG, it's not going too terribly, although they are getting out CS. They still haven't quite yet hit a point in this game where they could go truly aggressive on the EP side.
I think the best hope for the bounty hunter to get back in this game is get involved in a couple of kills on the Beastmaster. The Gyrocopter, now hitting level 6, does pack quite a lot of damage, and maybe they can pull that off, but the Gyrocopter is completely alone. The Wyvern is sitting behind mid, making sure the Magnus doesn't die.
Getting this Magnus and a little bit of extra farm is so important for VG right now. He has that RP right now, so maybe you could somehow find a skewer on him, lay the Arctic Burn in, get some Splinter Blast as well. It's a narrow one as well, especially when you get fissured. Instant skewer out, he's going to stay alive. Somehow that bottle charge did not last long on him. It must have been like an invisible creep shot or something. But yeah, Lin is going to go back to the base anyway, and Old Chicken is going to continue dominating this mid lane. This is pretty much what you would expect in a Shadow Fiend versus Magnus matchup. The Magnus is going to get some CS, but not a lot. Very similar to the DK in that regard.
And even though Shadow Fiend got his camps blocked earlier on in the game, now he can start building up stacks. And even without stacks, Shadow Fiend can still accelerate his farm quite heavily up towards top. 3-hero rotation. Nagasarn and Earthshaker, not the usual ganking squad you'll see, but it might just be enough to go off the Gyrocopter with the availability of level 6 on the Beastmaster, although it is a close call. They need to see the Wyvern before going for this, I think.
They need to see just some other heroes. Wyvern is off the map, Dogfights is off the map, so you don't exactly know what you're going for. And if you do decide to charge the Gyrocopter, if he gets his cooldown off before you actually can stun him, then the kill is going to be a lot riskier, because he does have maxed out Rocket Barrage, and EP should know about that. It's either level 4 or level 2. Either way, it hurts like hell. So yeah, going into that with a couple of very, I guess relatively soft, kind of under-leveled melee supports, not exactly what you want to be doing all the time. So Gyrocopter's going to get a free break up on top. Will continue his farming, but well, they do have a Beastmaster level 6, and this is usually something you want to capitalize on in some way, shape, or form.
And maybe that's on mid. They have a haste on the Shadow Fiend, so following up after Roar, if it does connect on the Magnus, would be very easy. But it looks like for the time being, the Beastmaster, although he wants to make some rotations, is going to have to wait until he has the smoke delivered. And he does have just that. Beastmaster is going to be going on a hunting mission, but this should be recognized by Vici Gaming potential. The Earthshaker is sitting in top lane. Beastmaster is off of the map, so they should be playing a little bit more defensively.
Beastmaster, Naga Siren, not exactly the most deadly duo, but I think with the Medallion and Riptide, they should have enough base damage to kill someone like Bristleback, especially when the Storm Spirit is there as well. They're going to run into James first of all, however, and the Winter Wyvern's going to see that one coming. There's the Roar onto the Wyvern. Ball Lightning, it needs the Embrace on himself like right now, but it's too late. He's going to go down Yang, trying to chase forward for someone, but he doesn't have any goo at this point, so he can't chase down for Jack. It's a very easy, clean kill for EP, and are they considering going for a little bit more? They do have 4 heroes here, no Roar, but a hell of a lot of disable coming out of this Naga Siren and Shaker. Looks like they'll decide to pull back.
And Vici Gaming potential also rotate their Gyrocopter off of the safe lane. Although this does give a little bit of space to Dogfights to pick up some much needed experience on the bounty, it's time that the Gyrocopter isn't farming, so that's a pretty big win for Energy Pacemaker.
He's not stacking either. He's pretty much just wandering around doing nothing. He's going to smoke up with the Wyvern now, try to crash this party on the bottom lane. They have, again, only one... No, they have 0 stuns. Winter Wyvern isn't even level 6 yet, so killing off the Storm Spirit, damn near impossible. Where the hell are they going? Well... Maybe the enemy jungle. Call down Splinter Blasts. I mean, call down in the jungle is sometimes going to be good. Splinter Blast in the jungle usually pretty bad because there's nothing to really bounce your blast off of. And the Beastmaster, he is going to be perfectly fine.
Yeah, spotted out by the Radiant Observer Ward. That's a lot of time committed by the Gyrocopter with not much benefit. That's going to propel the Storm Spirit and the Shadow Fiend ahead of him. And also the Magnus in the meantime isn't farming in mid, so this is time where Vici Gaming potential aren't getting much from the map. The big benefit of going for that smoke is it's not expected, but it also doesn't get any get any net gain. They don't get the kill that they needed.
Right now, EP just sitting on the farm train, and I don't think they're going to be getting off anytime soon. They do have a mech coming up on the Shadow Fiend relatively shortly, but I don't really know if their team is the type that would say, okay, we got a mech, now let's go ahead and push things. It's probably just going to be a security mech, expecting a little bit of aggression from VG to be coming in the upcoming minutes. That's a reasonable assumption. They're going to try to go for this Naga Siren up towards top. The Mirror Images is going to split all of that slow effect out, and Naga Siren is going to be just fine. Here comes the Gyrocopter, but again, he doesn't really have any way to get into this fight. VG have very few CC effects. One more now that the Magnus has his Blink Dagger, but they're going to need to use that RP for solo kills if they want to get any kills at all.
Yeah, for sure. Energy Pacemaker out farming and at the moment just playing the passive game. That's exactly what they want to be doing. Although they could get aggressive with the Mechanism and the Beastmaster, I think you pretty much nailed it down already that it's, I don't know, just a happy position for them to be. As long as they're getting more farm than Vici Game potential, it's a good game for them. Let's see where this first smoke rotation for the Magnus is going to end up.
Middle tower is under attack.
Magnus not using the smoke just yet. Looks like he's going to play it cool, go to the mid lane. So far, this Blink Dagger is going to be hidden, maybe blown by this Naga Siren illusion that's, or the Naga Siren illusions rather, that are fanning out in the dire jungle. No, he's actually going to go to the south. He kind of looks like he wants to go to the bottom lane, although he's definitely playing things a little bit cautiously. There are 2 targets over in mid as the tower is being pushed. Fortified, dropping lower and lower, but here comes the Magnus. Blink RP onto 2, skewering them right back. No tower aggro, however, and now the Requiem's being charged up. James is going to take that full into the face. That's Winter Wyvern down. Gyrocopter's going to ride, but immediately into the roar. He gets the call down out, but he's taking a lot of damage regardless. Kills off the Naga Siren, now it's Old Chicken behind the tower who's in the most trouble. Fan is going to arrive to this fight. Lin doesn't actually have that much to actually follow up. Another shockwave. Maybe we'll get the fight. Oh, it definitely will with the level 3 Shuriken as well. Old Chicken going to stick up, mech up as well. Now grabs a rune, bottling up as well. Dogfight's going to drop in the end, as Fan just has enough mana to actually get that kill. Lin is going to be A-okay. But after all said and done, the kill score is tied up 4-4. And it seems like everyone actually got their hands dirty in that fight a little bit. Tower is deniable.
It was a good RP coming up from the Magnus, but the Gyrocopter was a little bit late to the party, so the follow-up wasn't immediately there, and that's kind of what made things go a little bit sour for Vici Gaming potential. But they do end up securing the tower deny and trade fairly evenly. The big thing there is that Shadow Fiend survives with no real way to stop him from getting off the mech. Old Chicken was able to play very greedy with it and save it till the last second possible, and very well played by him too, securing the rune, and well, he'll just go back to farming without even going back to base.
Winter Wyvern getting closer to that level 6. If she had that curse in that fight, then Shadow Fiend would have done a lot of damage to one of his allies, or taken a lot of damage. Either way would have been really great for that VG side, but unfortunately for them, they get a couple kills and get a little bit of experience here and there, but not enough to give the Winter Wyvern or the Bounty Hunter the level 6s that they really, really want. So first Blink Dagger usage on Mag, I think it's probably a decent RP and a decent skewer as far as Magnus plays are concerned, just not the proper follow-up as you said. So EP getting a pretty lucky break there with the mech timings lining up with the Blink Dagger timings on the Mag, and now they're the ones on the aggressive smoke up. Storm Spirit Shaker immediately going to run to dogfights. Do they have detection? Well, guys, come on. Well, they catch a fissure anyway, but there's, again, no detection, so you kind of need that up against the Bounty Hunter. I heard that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's going to be a waste of 100 gold. The smoke absolutely doing nothing. Storm Spirit's still going to be able to farm inside the enemy woods, so he's still getting some amount of income, but yeah, that's something that's almost mandatory to have, even though the Earthshaker is very poor. It would have been 180 gold, well worth the cost.
Now this top lane is being pushed. Dogfights is going to be rotating in. The EP side definitely do have to respect the potential for Lin to blink in RP shenanigans there, but this tower is going to be brought down one way or another. Dogfights, best you could hope for is a deny. Is there really no detection on any of these heroes? They haven't even ferried any out on the courier. Well, tower's going to be destroyed anyway. Dogfights can't really do much except for absorb a little bit of experience, maybe grab that level 6, but EP taking down a couple of tier 1 towers while keeping all of theirs alive. They're in a pretty good situation right now to either back up, farm this Bloodstone on Storm Spirit, maybe get a Necrobook BKB on the Beastmaster and the Shadow Fiend respectively, or they can just keep going for these towers since it doesn't seem like VG really want to defend them.
Bounty Hunter does find his level 6, so if Vici are able to turn a couple of fights, that would be amazing for them, as they really kind of need the track gold to catch back up into this game. The Shadow Fiend and the Storm Spirit both are incredibly fast at farming, and they're not going to slow it down anytime soon. Shadow Fiend working presumably towards the mechanism, Storm Spirit is well on his way towards having the Bloodstone.
Some big items right now. Fan being stalked by dogfights up on top. I still cannot believe they're pushing without true sight. This courier better have something, and it does. Dust is there, and let's see how diligent dogfights is at checking it right now, because Dust being held by the Earthshaker. If they dust right now, they get a free kill. Oh, ball lightning in. Unfortunately, Storm Spirit isn't the one with the dust, so they should probably juggle those items a little bit.
Well, even so, it's not really going to cost them much. A minor nuisance to Bounty Hunter, just tracking every once in a while, but he should know that they have detection sooner rather than later. Not sure if he spotted the Earthshaker or not.
Well, either way, for EP, they know that Bounty Hunter has track. It's something that they have to keep in mind going for these one-for-one trades, though ordinarily may be worth it. Definitely not worth it now when the enemy team is getting track gold. We got a smoke up and an invis on 3 heroes for VG. They're going to be potentially running into the Storm Spirit. Dogfights is going to find the first target. It's going to be Fawn, the most difficult here. They need to blink RP him right now. There it is into the call down, but he gets skewered out of the call down. He's going to ball lightning all the way to the north with a long TP. I don't think it would have mattered even if the call down was to connect, but still, miscommunication. Now down towards bottom, it's going to be yanked to get a full Requiem to the dome. That's a dead Bristleback for sure. James coming way too late to that party, and it is going to be EP to get a kill after all.
I think it would have mattered, though, because Bounty Hunter had a level 3 Shuriken that he wasn't able to get off because the skewer pulled him too far away. I think that was just a misplay coming out from the Magnus. If you just skewered him in place for the nuke damage, that would have been more than enough.
Of course, you want to play the perfect Magnus where you skewer for additional stun duration, but yeah, I didn't realize that the Shuriken toss was being held right there. Between Shuriken toss and that initial missile, and maybe a little bit of a better timing on the skewer. Yeah, it definitely could have been a kill, but instead Storm Spirit gets to get away very, very close now to the Bloodstone. At least can complete the Soul Booster very shortly, and then just a hop, skip, and a jump away from that completed item. Bottom lane still being pushed right now. Shaker has the Echo Slam, however, there is no Roar, there's no Blink Dagger in the Shaker either, and Naga Siren's in a very, very awkward position, but I don't think Naga Siren's actually going to be punished by being here.
No, it looks like she's just going to be able to get some intel for the team. She's been spamming out her mirror images nicely and is kind of playing a similar role to what the Bounty Hunter has done up until this point. Just getting intel for them, zipping in mid, catching out the Gyrocopter, and they might just be able to get this kill, although the turnaround of Naga Siren is going to get a track kill for Vici Gaming potential. That was very greedy coming out from the Storm, but with the Soul Ring, have more than enough mana to survive. Honestly, that only works if the Gyrocopter is completely alone. They thought they had enough vision to go for that kill, but apparently not.
They're going to try to go for Yang, or Yang going for LT. Echo Slam completely whiffs. Raise number 1 misses. Now Old Chicken is not in the best position right now. He's going to stick his ground and fight up against the Wyvern and the Bristleback. And he's doing a pretty damn good job at that as well. Meching up, has 12 stick charges just in case. It looks like Yang will fall back in the end. However, there are a lot of VG heroes converging on this bottom lane. If Old Chicken sticks around, he may be the recipient of a Blink RP. They have vision on the Shaker, so the Magnus may want to go for this dive. RP, gonna connect onto 2, dragging them all back into the curse. Now that's what VG Gaming are waiting for. Not quite enough damage though, because there's the song. And Lay's gonna disregard everything that just happened and reset the fight. Dogfight's also a spot in the tower. That's not where we want to be, Bounty Hunter. He's not going to last long at all. That's a dead bounty. Now will they chase forward for more? Net onto XLL right now. We get the call down off, which will connect into most heroes unless they disengage. Old Chicken's going to pop immediately to the Magnus. Now they're all going to try to go for Yang, it seems, off to the side, but this guy's tanky with 9 stick charges as well. They can't get this Bristleback kill, and XSL still going to town with that Rocket Barrage to kill off the Naga Siren. Now Fawn's stuck in a corner. Will be Blink. Shockwave. That's going to give Lin a double kill. LT is stuck in the jungle right now as James gonna heal himself up. There's a tower there, but it doesn't seem like VG really care about it. Earthshaker gonna connect a Fissure onto 2, but he has no more backup, and he's gonna die as well. VG potential absolutely clean house down in this bottom lane, despite the reset from the Naga Siren.
Yeah, there were pretty much 3 parts to that fight. You have the initial initiation, which was great for Vici Gaming potential. Nice RP into the Winter's Curse. But then the Naga Siren drops their song, and Energy Pacemaker made the decision to stick around and go for that fight. They had an easy pick off on the Bounty Hunter, so they figured that they had enough people to go and take that engagement, but I think they played that a little too greedy. They were very spread out and probably could have just backed, but I suppose hindsight is 2020. It goes very nicely for Vici Gaming potential, underestimating the tankiness of the Bristleback and the nuke damage from the Gyrocopter. They took so much from the Rocket Barrage.
Yeah, I mean, it is like pretty easy to say, okay, let's fight. We just picked off their Bounty Hunter. At the very least, they don't give any additional track kills over to VG potential, but yeah, I don't really blame EP for making that call. Just they didn't really understand how much damage that VG were actually able to put out, and that is kind of a side effect of the fact that this Gyrocopter is Gyrocopter up against the EP lineup. He doesn't exactly have a ton of damage right now. He's actually gone for drums, no phase boots or anything like that, so he's a very stat heavy build. He's difficult to bring down, and against so many melee heroes, he's guaranteed to do a lot more damage than he ordinarily would, so Gyrocopter is not an easy kill, and EP kind of have to kill him.
Next fight around, however, they're going to be fighting into a Shadow Fiend with BKP, so Old Chicken is going to be incredibly survivable in these fights, and they can't rely on the damage that they used to kill him the first time, which was mainly composed of just shockwaves, the chills from the Winter Wyvern, the call down, and the Rocket Barrage. Just all of that mixed magical damage onto him, so this could get scary, but yeah, for the time being, Energy Pacemaker need to calm down a bit. They're still in a good situation this game. The Shadow Fiend and Storm Spirit are very farmed, but even from behind, Vici Gaming's lineup is very good at fighting.
And EP, they're really good at getting pickoffs, so as long as they avoid those massive 5-on-5 or 4v5 whatever engagements, they should be fine. Like, they have a Storm Spirit still, they have a Blinking Beastmaster, like, these are some insane heroes for actually getting the solo picks and then disengaging with the Naga Siren. But going for these straight pushing strategies, like, you kind of want to do this with the Shadow Fiend picking up BKB and has that mech, but this is where Vici are at their strongest and EP are at their weakest, so will the BKB mech on Shadow Fiend outweigh that fact? I'm not entirely convinced. If EP separate and try to look for picks, that's going to give them the most value.
There's also a Shadow Blade on this Magnus. Sentry Wards are an absolute must for Energy Pacemaker, and even if the Magnus isn't able to Shadow Blade into an RP, it effectively increases the range of his Blink initiation, even if there are sentries on the ground. So it's a great pickup for him, and it's going to mean that I think that Energy Pacemaker are making the right decision now, just to back off and farm up in their own woods a little bit.
Might be a little bit of a weird pickup in my opinion. Like, he's up against a Naga Siren, so the Song can very cleanly help them disengage if they do see the Magnus coming. And they already have a Bounty Hunter on their team, so EP are, you know, more than willing to buy detection. And Winter Wyvern 9 times out of 10 is going to be going for Glimmer Cape, so there's going to be detection somewhere down the line. VG are going very deep into this, you know, invisibility type strategy, and if they're up against a PA or someone where they really need a Silver Edge, then I would say that's okay, but there's no real, like, hard counter Silver Edge on the EP side. Like, no one really gets hit too hard by that.
It does disable Aftershock from the Earthshaker, so that takes away the stun from Misenchant Totem and Echo Slam, but there's not really a position in a fight where that's actually going to be relevant. And now Dusted Upland, maybe in a little bit of trouble, is going to secure back to the rest of his team and will be fine. But there's still a smoke from MG Pacemaker. The fight could erupt at any moment. I think Force Staff probably is a better pickup for the Mag, but it doesn't take away the fact that Shadowblade's still pretty good, even with those downsides.
Well, EP, the rest of the heroes, they were not revealed in their smoke, and they're just going to shuffle up to the top lane, go for a straight push. Again, this is not really where they want to be, and it looks like Dogfights is actually in a good position to get a courier snipe. He doesn't know that he's in a good position, so he's going to back off for right now, but EP, they're kind of asking for trouble up on this top lane. Storm Spirit has his Bloodstone completed, so this is the time where you want to go for this type of play, but already Old Chicken is going to be spotted out retreating from this fight, so it looks like they're all going to call it quits. Magnus is coming in hot with a haste rune, and he's invis. He doesn't have any tracks on these targets, however, so I don't really know if he can get to someone in time. He's running out of both invis and haste, and yeah, that's just about it.
Yeah, unfortunate for Vici Gaming that they weren't able to get a pick off there, but yeah, I don't know. The state of this game is kind of awkward. Both of these teams are raring and ready to go for these engagements since the power of a Blink RP is there, and you have a 10-second BKB on the Bristleback, and that's mirrored by the BKB up for your Shadow Fiend, as well as a Blink on the Beastmaster. So, I don't know. I think that, yeah, Energy Pacemaker may be a little bit antsy, but the fights could go either way.
It's a positioning game. It's like, can the RP land on 3 heroes instead of 2? Who will get the initiation off? That's really where this game is looking to go right now. Both teams are really respecting each other's damage potential right now, and I think EP, especially after that last fight, are, you know, going to be in a pretty good position by doing that. But at a certain point, they're actually going to have to go in and push. This Gyrocopter is getting pretty big. He has a BKB as well, and once the Empower is maxed out, that's going to be happening very shortly. Then Gyrocopter is automatically going to be doing a truckload of damage. EP really need to get some sort of pick off going, and you know, for VG, they do have the tracks, so they would like to get the kills, but they don't exactly have to right now because it seems like EP are constantly coming to the Dire side.
Another thing to keep in mind is that EP can very easily take Roshan with the power of Storm Spirit inside the pit, and also holding down towards bottom is going to be a Dust on a Dogfight, spot out by a Sentry. He's going to be killed, or is he? With the Blink RP, that's going to buy him a little bit more time, but they're going to pull him back in the Winter's Curse and the Call Down, instantly killing off the Storm. Now focused down, poor Earthshaker, left alone by his team. Even a Naga Song isn't going to do anything, way too late to the party. Naga can only run away, and maybe that's not even enough. No, it is going to save her life, but this opens up Roshan with Vici Gaming potential aside. But are they actually going to fully commit? It looks like they're not sure about it.
Well, Bristleback really good up against that Roshan, but they don't really have that much damage towards Roshan. No extra minus armor, and up against the Hawk, you could assume you're being spotted. In fact, Yang's going to walk right into Xiaotulei, and he's going to get roared. Back turn to some heroes, but not Old Chicken's Requiem. This is going to hurt, and Yang is going to be going down here. BKB popped way too late, but gets embraced by the Wyvern, and now they're looking for a Blink Skewer, and it's going to drag Old Chicken out of the fight, actually, which will cover Yang's escape out. And Lin is actually going to survive afterwards as well. They do catch up to this Naga Siren. That's going to be a track kill, I think, unless she split out of it. By the way, Dogfight's now caught, and once again will be the support bounty hunter to get picked off by a random ball lightning. Old Chicken and Xiaotulei still in the area, still willing to fight, and VG, well, they're on the retreat, but I don't think this Gyrocopter is going to make it. Found still has quite a bit of mana. Wild Axe is being thrown. Storm Spirit will grab that kill as well. That's a 2-for-1 in favor of EP, and I do believe the Naga Siren got those mirror images out, getting rid of the track right before she died.
Yeah, it's going to tip the scales back into Energy Pacemaker's side. The Storm Spirit having the Bloodstone and being able to join that engagement so quickly is really going to help them out, and now that all of the big ultimates have been spent, the Gyrocopter is down for 30 seconds, they're going to go into Roche. They have a Medallion up on the Beastmaster, they're going to pop that in the Bristleback and blow up poor Yang. What are you doing? Oh my goodness, the Bristleback is completely alone with no backup, relying too heavily onto the Winter Wyvern, and this is going to be a free Roche.
If you have a BKB, sure, go ahead and do that, but that was 20 seconds off. He just, like, walked into 5 heroes. You don't do that. And now Fawn has an Aegis and a couple more Bloodstone charges, just because, well, he got so many kills afterwards. Definitely not the bristleback move that they wanted to make, and well, they do catch dogfights out one more time. Storm Spirit this time running out of True Sight, so the Bounty Hunter will be able to get away. But man, the Storm Spirit is packing some serious heat now with the big ol' Instick and the Mystic Staff. A Sheep Stick or something like that, you get right on top of the Gyrocopter, get on top of him before he gets his BKB. I don't know if Fawn can outright burst down the Gyrocopter, but getting rid of that call down in a fight, that is huge.
Absolutely, and it's just such a scary initiating tool. Energy Pacemaker have really played out their draft a lot better than I thought they would. They're getting what they need on the heroes that are important. The Storm Spirit and the Shadow Fiend are keeping up, even though their lanes were inherently weaker by having these two melee supports. It didn't seem to matter. Storm and Shadow Fiend pulled it through. Oh, poor Dogfights, caught out by the Naga and the Earthshaker.
Yeah. The fact that Dogfights has been leaving his side of the map, instantly dying for the past like 3 minutes, is definitely helping EP's case. Like, I don't know how many times this Bounty Hunter has died in the past couple of minutes, but it's been a lot, and yeah, he's only a quote-unquote support Bounty Hunter, but at a certain point, you're giving away a lot to the EP side. Their sentry coverage, though in the beginning of this game, kind of bad, and, well, honestly really terrible, it has stepped up, and it is definitely good enough to take care of this Bounty Hunter, and also making Lin a little bit more scared about using his Shadow Blade to get in and out of those fights, because he knows that there's probably going to be detection on the field. I'm really surprised to see the Beastmaster not going for a Necrobook, especially up against all these invis heroes, but hey, Vlads, if you're going to be playing this aggressive pushing game with this type of draft, that could do some serious work as well. In this tower, it's fortifiable, but Old Chicken really wants it, and Yang, well, let's see who's the better last hitter. How good are you, Bristleback? You have a lot of damage, but then again, so does Shadow Fiend. Oh, he gets it. Denied.
Well done by the Bristleback, going to dent that win a little bit for Energy Pacemaker, but they still get a tier 2, and in mid lane no less. It's a pretty important tower for them to be knocking down. Another misread on the items, Storm Spirit goes for a Shiva's Guard instead of for the Sheep Stick, which I think is fine. It's going to help him against the Bristleback's damage output and the Gyrocopter, and backed up by Magnus. I think that's worthy to respect. Although I personally would have liked to see a Sheep a little bit more, I think it's definitely a worthy item.
Lots of defensive items in this game. Like, you have the Sanj and Yasha also on the Shadow Fiend, which you could very easily go for Manta Style in this game as the first item and just ignore the Sanj. Get rid of the track as well as various slows from the VG side if you're Old Chicken, but man, everyone is so stat heavy. Like, Gyrocopter obviously can get away with it because he has Empower on his side, but like everyone's just loading up on this defensive capabilities, trying to mitigate the fact that this game is going to be so dependent on who gets initiation. If you somehow out-tank the enemy team's initiation, then you have a chance of turning things around with an RP or a song for VG or EP respectively.
It's been quite a while since we've actually seen that big 5-on-5 fight, however. I don't think we're going to see it for quite some time. Even though Storm Spirit has an Aegis, it's going to be expiring shortly. If Energy Pacemaker want to take an engagement, they want to take it now, and even then, Vici Gaming Potential's fight is nothing to scoff at if they get a good RP off. But Bounty Hunter is not involved in any way, shape, or form in this engage, but then again, neither is Earthshaker. He's sitting in mid. This is such a weird push. They'll get the tier 2 tower, but there's not going to be a fight.
I mean, it worked out pretty well for EP.
Yeah.
I guess if VG didn't have any plans on going for that, then it's fine for them as well. But Shaker still doesn't have his Blink Dagger. It is quite late in this game as far as Shaker Blink Dagger timings are concerned, so he really needs to get that up. I like how they're giving him space and farm
Dogfights?
to do that.
Courier.
Killed.
There you go.
Took him 30 minutes, but it happened. And that's Orb of Venom. Yeah, that is I have Scotty. I don't think delayed by too much. You know, maybe a minute or two on the Scotty, but hey, it's something for him, finally.
Yeah, so, yeah, Bounty Hunter, he's been looking for that for quite some time. It's an important courier to snipe, too. Yeah, fair enough. The game is going to slow down a bit now that the Aegis is about to expire on the Storm Spirit. And without that Scotty, I don't think Energy Pacemaker will be very interested in pushing. And unless Vici Gaming get a pick-off, neither will they. The Magnus, in the meantime, speaking of getting picked off, is going to be jumped by the Storm, but still no detection on the Storm Spirit. Honestly, I think the Dust would be better to be holding on to than the bottle.
Yeah, get the Dust on the Storm Spirit, because he's going to be the one jumping in most of the time. Big Ball Lightning in, almost catches the Magnus. That was purely blind. That would have been a sick kill that I almost kind of would have missed because no one expects that kill, but my god, that was close.
Well played by Fan, and he can go for that since he does have the Aegis, and it's going to be ticking out soon. He doesn't lose any farming time or any time on the map by going for that sip. That was almost top plays worthy.
Well, he's going to have to wait another day, perhaps, if he's going to be in those video montages. Aegis is going to be reclaimed, as he said, giving him a full mana restore. Mini regen rune doesn't last nearly as long, so can't really do any ridiculous things with that as a Storm Spirit. But EP, they should have their Blink Iron Shaker, and they do. And they're just going to go for a straight push up towards top. VG, I think, at this point should be more than happy to accept this fight, but they kind of have to go soon because Old Chicken's already working on the tier 2. It's backdoor protected, luckily for them. This Bounty Hunter needs to start laying down the tracks, but he's scared of being picked off because he has been so many times already. As long as Naga Siren is in the back, I don't know if VG can actually get good initiation. They have to find the Naga Siren, and well, Lynn's going to be charging forward, but they actually jump in and catch the Gyrocopter right now. Roared up, stunned, but he does get embraced and healed up with the Glimmer Cape. Old Chicken gets RP. It's dragged way behind the tier 2 tower, but there's the Song. That's not going to help against Yang, who's still going wild, but now at the net, he can't move anywhere. Song reset, and then here we go. Requiem onto Old Chicken, gets cursed up immediately afterwards. Now the call down onto 2, which will slow down everyone, and Gyrocopter is no longer under any pressure. He's going to turn around, go for Old Chicken and the Naga Siren at the exact same time. Dogfight's trying to chase after LT. So many people are tracked up right now in VG. Well, they're on the chase. They're going to lose their Bristleback, however, and Fawn's still very much so alive. Going to go straight for the Gyrocopter. Once again embraced by James. Going to be kept alive. Storm Spirit now trying to TP out, but gets skewered out of it. And with the Rocket Barrage, he'll be forced to commit suicide. In the meantime, Dogfights was able to chase down and grab a kill on the Shaker. That was a track kill for himself. Big win for VG. Again, even after that Naga Siren reset.
The only survivor is the Beastmaster. He's able to make his way back towards his side of the base, but the power of the Winter Wyvern, Cold Embrace plus Glimmer Cape is incredible, and honestly, probably a bit too strong. Energy Pacemaker throw everything in that first initiation, but they had no answers to a Glimmer Gyro. There was really nothing that they could do, and then he turns around and fights like a champ with the BKB active. Even with no damage items, Empowered Gyro is still incredibly scary, and his damage combo hasn't fallen off yet from the Rocket Barrage and the Call Down. Just a really well-executed fight coming out from Vici Gaming Potential. Energy Pacemaker threw so much into that first round of initiation.
Both these teams have this kind of get-out-of-jail-free card with the Naga Siren Song as well as that combo from the Winter Wyvern. It just seems like VG are getting the slight upper hand in how the damage is being distributed. That is having a lot to do with the fact that Gyrocopter has gone for such a strength-heavy build, like random belt of strength in his inventory. Hey, he has 1900 HP plus an MKB. He's dishing damage. He could do even more when he's empowered, but yeah, just having those get-out-of-jail-free cards makes it such a much more game of distributing damage, focus fire, and it seems like VG are just a little bit more capable in that. EP, they still kind of want to go for this pushing strategy because, hey, they've already taken out all these tier 2 towers, but at this point, they may consider just slowing this game down, but while that's happening, Gyrocopter is getting frighteningly huge.
Yeah, he's still lacking behind the Sword Spirit and the Shadow Fiend when it comes to raw items, but Shadow Fiend is very single target focused. And Old Chicken, it doesn't seem like he's able to really kill anybody quick enough. He has all of these defensive items. I have Scotty, Sanjinyasha, Mech, BKB. This is pretty much as defensive as you can feasibly go on a Shadow Fiend. Although it's not abnormal, I'm not sure it's really going to cut it if he goes for another defensive item. I don't think he can. He's going to go for a Butterfly. It's a nice mix, but honestly, I think a Daedalus or a BKB, or MKB, excuse me. Blink RP, skewer back in, nicely done by the Magnus with the focus fire onto Old Chicken. Is it going to be enough? Naga Siren's nowhere close. Old Chicken will survive to pop Mech, BKB, and the Requiem, but the Requiem doesn't actually go through before he's focused down by the physical damage of the Bristleback and the Gyrocopter. They're going to lose dogfights as per usual, but this track is going to be taken off. That's not actually going to stick for much longer. A Zip TP by Fan will get him out to safety, but the Bristleback cleans up the Naga Siren on the backlines. A 2-3 fight, but much better for Vici Gaming Potential since they kill off the SF.
I don't know if they actually got any track kills within the duration of that. Maybe the Shadow Fiend was there. I'm not quite sure about that, but Requiem hit absolutely no one because everyone and their mom for VG Gaming had BKBs up. And for the Shaker, that was the play that he kind of had to make. Jump into the pile of 3 heroes, look for that Echo Slam. Unfortunately, he blinked right into the AoE of the Curse of the Winter Wyvern, so he blinked in and started attacking his friendly, and that's not exactly what you want to be doing. So VG, they keep all their cores alive, sacrifice their supports. That's completely fine. That's kind of what the supports jobs are for, and that's going to give a lot of extra cash to these cores. That's what Assault Cuirass completed on the Bristleback right now. Another 1,200 in the bank for the Gyrocopter. Mag has his BKB just completed. Now he has another 1,500 gold, and now Roshan is on the table for the VG side with another 13 seconds where Shadow Fiend is down. They have full vision with this Hawk, but I honestly don't know if VG actually care about this. There is a Beastmaster incoming with the Roar in 10 seconds, but in 10 seconds, this Roshan is going to be dead. Blink forward, blind skewer, really? Okay, Fissure's going to be thrown, and Vaughn jumps in, can't grab the Aegis, however, now it's to jump out, and we have Chatoulet, he's in a little bit of trouble right now, does throw the Roar over towards Lin, and he's going to get bailed out by the Song. No more BKBs are up right now. Yet Dogfights is in a good position to intercept. They can't quite get that. Lei's going to straight TP out. Storm Spirit going to ball lightning out. Everyone and their mom chasing again for another kill. LT going to throw a fissure, which will disengage fully for EP. Yet that's Song down the tubes. And for VG, they actually don't use any spells. And now they have an Aegis.
Yeah, this is a really bad situation for Energy Pacemaker. Their big teamfight ultimates are still on cooldown for a little bit longer. The Roar for 44 seconds, even Earthshaker's Echo Slam for 10. He's probably going to have it before High Ground gets attempted by Vici Gaming Potential, if they even go for that, but nonetheless, it's still a pretty major win.
There's so much gold flowing into the pockets of VG right now. I don't know what this Gyrocopter is going to be doing. I think this Belt of Giant Strength is probably not going to be used, but man, are they getting a lot of funds, even without these track kills. Like, you would expect them to be pulling ahead with gold because, hey, they have a Bounty Hunter on their side, but no, it's just the fact that they're getting so many pickoffs, and EP are just walking into these fights kind of poorly. They're going to smoke up again and look for someone to roar up. 10 seconds, and that will be available. They're going to charge the high ground, see a Gyrocopter. BKB is popped, and this is a guy with an Aegis right now. He's going to pop the flat can, turn things around, and annihilate the Naga Siren. That's one kill already. Old Chicken not doing enough damage right now, especially when you heal up the Gyrocopter. Now Curse onto the Shadow Fiend. He's not getting that much damage, and off to the sideline, Lin. He's getting jumped by Fan. Echo Slam's committed just to kill off that Magnus. He's down. Old Chicken dropping slower, and he will go down to the end. Death Requiem doing quite a bit of damage. Fawn, though, still off to the side, now engaging towards Dogfight, but he runs out of detection, and Lin, he's going to blind RP, catches Fawn, skewers him back into a whole pile of VG heroes. He has a ball landing out. He's going to get very far away, but he doesn't actually TP. Can they actually chase us? They still have full vision, and Magnus is pretty darn quick with that Shadow Blade and that track. I don't think he has enough CC to actually lock down Fawn, but wherever he goes, he's going to be tracked down and spotted out. Shuriken, Shockwave, not quite going to do it. Jumps to the high ground. Do they have enough damage? It seems like the answer is no. The Storm Spirit gets to get away, but still VG, it costs them one buyback on the Magnus, yet they take out the Shadow Fiend, and they still even have their Aegis.
I think the biggest thing for me is it doesn't feel like Shadow Fiend's net worth is translating as well as the Gyrocopters. He's not doing enough damage to kill off the targets that's necessary inside the fights, and Winter Wyvern is completely stonewalling him whenever he gets the Gyrocopter low. The BKB plus Cold Embrace is ridiculous. The Aegis is going to be popped by Storm Spirit, but that's about it. It's going to be a Bloodstone charge for him as they're going to go for potentially a push, but yeah, it looks like they're just going to back. Vici Gaming Potential are taking these engagements much cleaner.
Shadow Fiend, I mean, Sanjin, Yasha, Scotty, BKB, these are all nice items to have, but at a certain point, you really just need to smash things as this hero, and the hero that you really have to smash is this Winter Wyvern, but James, he hasn't been picked off that often, so obviously a testament to his positioning. As long as he stays in the back right now, as long as he is that emergency medic for the Gyrocopter or even for the Magnus, then that's going to be VG potential to pretty much win every single game. It is the job of the Storm Spirit to actually get on top of that Winter Wyvern, make sure that that healing combo, that safety combo isn't available. But at the same time, like, you have Magnus as a target, you have Bounty Hunter as a target. For Fawn, it's hard to make that call, just ignore all of those really juicy targets and go for this person in the way back in the Winter Wyvern. And even when you jump on the Winter Wyvern, there's no guarantee you actually get that kill because he could always glimmer and embrace himself.
Yeah, Storm Spirit has to kill the Wyvern inside the duration of the Electric Vortex. He didn't go for a Scythe, didn't go for an Orchid. Although at the time, I think that was an okay choice for the Storm Spirit. I think this culmination of defensive items is starting to bite Energy Pacemaker. It's making it a lot harder to take these fights. It's not going to get any better with the Lincoln Sphere. It's a necessary pickup to stop you from getting Blink Winter's Curse by the Wyvern, but even so, I think Energy Pacemaker are just delaying this game out until they can fully get 6 slots on the Storm Spirit as well as the Shadow Fiend, for better or for worse.
There's a team fight brewing on the top side. Hawk is going to be in a pretty decent position, but we have Lin leading the charge right now, looking for the Blink. RP, screw onto Old Chicken. Can they burst this guy down before the song actually connects? Old Chicken taking a lot of damage. Not quite enough, however. James in a little bit of trouble because Fawn did make the right call this time, but the song that can't actually capitalize. Now Old Chicken forced about the BKB and run. They do roar up Lin just to disengage, however, netting the Magnus down as well. But here comes the Snot. It's going to land to the Beastmaster. He's tracked up as well. They're going to disengage from him and instead try to go for Fawn, who's still occupying the back lines. Lei gets caught in the backside. That's going to be Naga Siren down. But she already did everything that she could possibly do, so that's pretty much okay for EP, all things considered. But again, VG, they used the RP. They can still keep going because of the brute force power of these heroes. This tier 2 at the very least is going to go down. They see this Earthshaker. Someone sees him, but he's going to blink out of there just fine. That's a Naga Siren down, no song they're just going to be happy with that tower, and they're going to get another big round of items. That's Basher on the Bristleback, Butterfly in the works with Gyrocopter. That's going to be up very, very shortly. EP have yet to take a really great fight in the past, what, 10, 15 minutes?
Bristleback's hitting for upwards of 300 damage with minus armor applied from the Assault Cuirass and Viscous Nasal Goo with bashes and cleave. He's hitting like a truck, so is the Gyrocopter, and this is just a very, very scary situation to be in. And even the Bounty Hunter's finally picked up an item. He has himself the full Guardian Greaves, which is going to make it even harder to kill off the Bristleback. When he's down low and getting that plus armor, the Shadow Fiend is hardly going to be denting him.
Have we seen in this game a Blink Roar initiation from EP? Because I don't think we have. I feel like I just haven't been saying Xiaotulei's name a lot, and that isn't something that's good for a Beastmaster.
No, definitely not. 1-1 and 5, his KD isn't bad by any means, but it's also not flashy. You want him to be involved in these kills and actually setting things up, especially with the build that he's gone for. The Solar Crest, the Blink, the Vladimir he's offering, these aren't items to just sit back and split push. If we went for a Necrobook, maybe that's a little bit more understandable, but even so, I think that is one of the issues that Energy Pacemaker are having. He throws the Roar generally, but right after the fact they get Wyvern embraced, and there's not really much that Energy Pacemaker can do after that.
And conversely, someone like the Magnus Lin has been initiating for VG potential very, very consistently. Maybe a little bit too much, always using that RP on one target, trying to burst that target down. Is a good strategy for a little portion of the game, but not really the entirety of it. But he's not being punished either, so the fact that Magnus is getting initiation off almost 10 times out of 10 is going great for VG, and it's giving EP on the defensive, and that's sometimes all you need. They're going to catch the Naga Siren out. There's the track. Can she actually mirror image out of it? No, she gets RP'd. I really like how they're actually using the RP just on these one targets, but they might regret it because now James is going to get burst down near the Roche pit. TP coming in for the Gyrocopter way too late. It's an even one-for-one trade, but it's VG to get the track kill.
Yeah, slight advantage for them. Both of these teams losing their defensive supports to bail them out inside these initiations. So I think both teams are just going to be happy farming up wherever they deem is safe. And right now that seems to be inside their own woods.
Alright, so everyone wants those additional items. Right now, this Shadow Fiend needs an MKB, and he's going to be going for that one. Should have that one, ideally for Old Chicken, rather shortly, but there are a couple heroes right around the corner. This Bristleback, even if the Shadow Fiend does get an MKB, can solo kill him, I think, just because he does have a Basher, and Shadow Fiend has no way to actually defend himself against that. So, yeah, Yang is holding on to some serious firepower right now in this Bristleback, and I don't even know if you go for straight Abyssal Blade. It's nice, obviously, but with Song of the Siren as a threat, I don't know. Either way, he's going to get a big item. That's, I think, bottom line.
Yeah, I might even like to see a Scotty up for the Bristleback. Just tank up, get that extra mana to spam out his quills more inside the fight, and even more chasing cars if he needed it.
What else can you get? Is this a game where you even get consider getting a sheep stick or something? I guess it kind of serves the same purpose as an Abyssal Blade, but man, this Bristleback, he can't be moved, so you might as well get whatever item that will help your team the most as far as AoE or utility is concerned.
Yeah, no matter what the choice is, I think Bristleback's still going to be sitting in a really comfortable position inside these fights. For the first time in a long time, the Gyrocopter and the Bristleback now have comparable net worth to the Shadow Fiend and Storm Spirit. It's mostly due just to the last couple of fights really going in their favor. I think more importantly is the item choices for the Storm Spirit. He just needs a way to jump onto them. Missiles going to be flying his way, but not fast enough. It's going to be hitting him inside the well unless destroyed.
Well, it does force the Storm Spirit to TP back, which is, I suppose, a win in and of itself, so that next time, in the next minute at least, you can go for that kill a lot easier. In that minute, Roshan is going to respawn. With the damage and minus armor that VG have, they should be able to put a lot of hurt into Roshan really, really quickly. But EP, they have a great lineup for crashing Roshan. They have Storm Spirit, who is just a menace near the Roche pit. They have Song of the Siren, they have Requiem, they have Echo Slam. This is probably EP's best positioning chances as far as taking a full-on 5-on-5 team fight is concerned.
And they're also going to have a Glimmer Cape up shortly for the Earthshaker. It's going to look really nice for him if they can find a fight inside those clumped quarters. Haste around the Storm Spirit, probably not going to be used for much more than just to poke eyes onto the Magnus. There's not a follow-up there to straight up kill him, but actually Energy Pacemaker going to start applying pressure onto the high ground. They might even take down this tier 3 tower. Glyph is going to be forced out, and Vici Gaming need to back now, but the TP was spent by the Gyrocopter on cooldown for a very long time. No, that's actually him TPing back to base, excuse me. They'll be able to protect their high ground, but only just down to 270 HP for not much committed by Energy Pacemaker.
Yeah, just VG a little bit out of position. It's not going to cost them anything, really, because tier 3 tower health, that's not something that's entirely relevant. But what EP do with this play is delay the Roshan a little bit, just so that perhaps EP can shove the bottom wave a little bit more, get a little bit of extra farm, get a buyback or something before the Roshan fight truly breaks out. So VG are going to be mildly inconvenienced by that, but now that that top lane problem has been dealt with, pretty sure they can just slide right into that Roche pit, and we'll see what they can actually grab. EP, they should be moving all their heroes into position right now, but unfortunately, Xiaotulei, he is left behind in the top lane because he does not actually have a TP. And VG know about this, so if they start Roshan right now, it's going to be a 5v4 worst case scenario for them.
It's still a potential issue that they might get the Aegis sniped by the Naga Siren. Is it even worth dropping a BKB to pick that up? It's only 5 seconds on the Bristle, and well, as far as the gyro, it's also 5 seconds on him. I think you use the BKB on the gyrocopter in order to secure this Aegis so it doesn't get song sniped, but they're going to jump in onto the high ground. Vision applied by the Remnant, and now they're going to look in. Song applied, and he didn't use the BKB. Winter Wyvern's going to blink in, bash onto the Storm Spirit, but he gets the Aegis snatch, and everybody should be able to escape freely out of there. BKB popped by the Magnus, looking for initiation over onto Old Chicken. The cooldown's going to be nice, and on the mark, he's tracked up, but he'll be able to turn around. RP, however, is going to go down sooner rather than later. Wyvern stuck on the high ground, will die to the Storm Spirit initiation. 1-for-1 trade. That's still good for Vici getting potential in a vacuum, but Storm Spirit did get the Aegis.
And they might get a courier snipe. Run, Llama, run! Blink hit. There it is. Courier also down. Yeah, that is a pretty big win for EP. Grabbing the Aegis, grabbing the cheese. I think VG just didn't expect the angle of initiation to come from that bottom side. Like 9 times out of 10, the initiation is going to come from the left side of that fight. So they didn't see anyone, therefore, hey, no one's going to be coming in. But man, were they wrong. That's Aegis for a Storm Spirit. That's really deadly. And well, the cheese can be shuffled around appropriately. It costs EP their Shadow Fiend, and that is an expensive loss. But if VG were able to grab that Aegis, then, and the cheese, of course, then you could bet that they would be knocking on the front door of EP right now. So EP have essentially brought themselves another, what, like 7-ish minutes where they're not going to be pushed and really hard-pressed to defend. They still might be pushed, but they have a much better chance at actually holding that high ground.
As far as Storm Spirit's item progression is concerned, he commits for a level 3 Dagon. I really don't like this pickup by the Storm. Earlier on, it might help killing off the Winter Wyvern, but Wyvern has a Glimmer Cape, and without having hard CC from a Scythe especially, or an Orchid, it's going to be very difficult for him, and I don't think the item serves the purpose that Fan really needs it to. The BKBs are running down the duration, however, and it is not to be underestimated inside the fights, but even going for raw right-click damage on Fan, I'd expect to be better, something like an MKB.
Yeah, it would probably, like, over the course of the fight, provide a little bit extra damage. I think the strategy is I'm going to go kill the Winter Wyvern. And in that regard, I think it's an okay item, but that might be a little bit too narrow-sighted from Fawn. Like, yeah, killing off the Winter Wyvern is important, but if he's really going to invest, what is it, like 7,000 gold in a maxed-out Dagon to kill off that one hero, and even then it's not a guarantee, is that even worth it? I guess it guarantees that he will get that kill in the duration of the Vortex. Maybe? Does it?
I don't even think it does that. Winter Wyvern has currently 40% magical resistance, although her HP pool isn't that high. Yeah, it's close but not quite. If there's anybody else there, any assistance, like a Magnus RP completely stops that in its tracks, excuse me.
We'll see if the Dagon actually pans out. You could be looking at Sheepstick or close to Sheepstick at this point if you were to make a different decision. EP, they're going to jump straight into the Gyrocopter, do a little bit of damage to the Gyrocopter, but Embrace, and suddenly he's at full HP with a little bit of extra regen over the top as well. Magnus, he's Shadow Blading forward. He's using that as a movement speed item. Very Batrider-esque so far for this Magnus, and it looks like it may run into the
Blink Echo in mid, however.
Dogfight. That's a dead Bounty Hunter. They use the Echo Slam and the Roar from it. Will they be punished? Fawn still keeping tabs on the entirety of VG potential, and well, it is going to be a single pickoff for EP. Are they going to continue onward? You would think that after that pickoff, they would just go, you know, full steam ahead into the base.
Even though it's a 4v5 fight, the Bounty Hunter is by far not the most important part of Vici Gaming's engagement. The other 4 heroes are more than capable of holding high ground, especially since they don't have to deal with the Echo Slam. I think that it's probably the right choice just to play things slow and wait out a little bit. They still have a slot to pick up on the Shadow Fiend and Boot to Travel to upgrade too, and similar for the Storm Spirit, he has an Aegis to replace and a couple more levels of Dagon.
Okay, so we're slowly starting to see heroes getting to that 6-slotted status. In fact, Shadow Fiend is very, very close to being there. Cheese replacement with 4,000 gold is very easy to come by. Sanjin Yasha, again, I think Manta Style is probably worthwhile in this game, but we'll see. They do have eyes on Lin, who has a Shadow Fiend behind him, and a Beastmaster to the right, and Naga Siren to the south. He has to play very sneaky if he wants to get out of this one. He's going to blink into the trees, and there's no vision, and no song. Okay, well, he gets away.
Yeah, they might have been able to commit a song for that, and I believe Naga Siren... Oh no, she's not actually sitting on that level 16, so it would have been a 2-minute cooldown at the very least. They'll throw some axes, it's worth the shot, but he's not actually there anymore. Everybody's going to survive, and currently sitting on their own side of the map, or at least close enough to it.
And Aegis is going to be taken back real soon from Fawn, so the Aegis and Cheese play, and it helped them, like, get, I guess, that kill on the Bounty Hunter. Speaking of, by Fawn once more. That's once again a very dead Bounty Hunter. Dagon value, I suppose, but yeah, it didn't help them actually breach high ground. Again, it's a very defensive Aegis and Cheese steal, which is fine. As VG, they're getting loaded up on these items. Looking at some other item builds, Bristleback, 2,800 gold. Hasn't picked up anything in quite a long time, but hey, Abyssal Assault Cuirass, can't really complain about that. And Gyrocopter also, he's so close to being fully 6-slotted with massive items. There's nothing you really replace that he's holding right now.
No, definitely not. And honestly, I'm not sure exactly what Gyrocopter goes for his 6th slot. He's really comfortable with what he's sitting on to. There's an MKB on the Shadow Fiend, so that does dent the effectiveness of the Butterfly, but it's still a pretty effective survivability tool against the Storm Spirit in particular. Although there is a Dagon level 4, and he has enough money to upgrade to 5. He'll probably save for buyback, however, has 250 surplus.
Yeah, save for buyback until you actually use it. But then, if you don't know what to build in this patch, you build Scotty. Up towards top, the push is going to continue, and VG potential again out of position. Tier 3 going to fall without any resistance whatsoever. And the Shadow Fiend illusions are running wild, as are the servers. Fawn's going to jump in. Did he actually catch the James? No, he didn't quite do it. It looks like everyone from VG going to stay alive right now. Call down is going to connect into 0 people. Not a good time for a giant lag spike, but RP is still available, and VG potential are charging forward for more until they decide to not charge forward for more any longer. Just a tier 3 tower down, minor damage and range racks. Not a big deal.
I think that answers the question of, can the Storm Spirit kill the Winter Wyvern in the duration of pull? The answer is no, as long as he doesn't have detection and the Wyvern's defensively positioned. If James gets caught out alone, that's a different story entirely, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. This game is really going to go to whoever gets the better initiation side of the fights, as it usually does when we hit this late game mark.
It's also like relying a surprise. This game is going to hinge surprisingly on this top lane split push. EP have gotten so much more damage on this top lane than they really should be. Like, maybe they snipe a tier 3 without VG potential actually having TPs or reacting in time or getting into a perfect position or whatever, but the fact they take in a tier 3 and they're also working on their axes right now, while VG potential have such a great high ground defense, is really freaking crazy. Like, that shouldn't really be happening, and with someone like a Storm Spirit, you can slowly chip away at those Raxes. Hell, even Naga Siren holding quite a bit of gold. It's a little bit late perhaps for Radiance, but hey, if Naga Siren gets a lot of gold, we all know how deadly and, well, resident sleeper that a farm Naga Siren can be.
Or even just pick up some extra utility for the team. Since Shadow Fiend's installed as mech, maybe pick up something like a Guardian Greaves for the team. Could be pretty nice to upgrade those Arcane Boots, but yeah, there's a lot of gold on her, and even more on the Shadow Fiend, currently sitting on 7,600. He has 5,100 surplus. If he sells his cheese, he could pretty much buy any item within reason to fill that last slot, although I don't think he will. Old Chicken is incredibly farmed and pretty much can't get any more farmed.
Maybe Daedalus on him, just hit a little bit harder. Like Sanjin Yasha,
or a
I think
Moonshard.
is probably. Oh yeah, you could do that also. Just get your travels. I think travel. It's probably time for travels.
Yeah, that's probably the direction he'll go into. But sooner rather than later, I'd like to see him actually use his gold. Sitting on 5,200 surplus really doesn't serve the game much.
Alright, the servers are starting to die. Here's that just on my end.
It is a little bit slideshow Dota.
Okay, guys, so if we end up freezing or whatever, it's not my fault. It's not GrandisV's fault. It's China's fault. Blame China.
Report China.
Yep, report China for feed.
Not catering to the
not
United States viewers.
God damn it, China. Why you gotta be like that? Every single time. They make all of our stuff, and then they take it all away. China giveth, and they taketh.
Well, right now this is just an awkward standoff between both of these teams. There's really no move that either of them can make as long as they stay grouped and don't get picked off. And that's probably not going to happen unless there's a smoke rotation and somebody's just greedily farming out by themselves. We have 2 smokes up for the Radiant side, and for the Dire, they're currently sitting on 1 as well. So that play is available, but they probably won't go for it until they know the Roshan's up. He's not going to show his head for another minute and a half or so.
Right, so I don't think Roshan timer is really going to be benefiting anyone right now. They're more than happy just to get their items up, and let's take a look at actually these smaller items being built up by these support heroes. We have an ultimate orb being built by a Shaker. Probably just going to be a sheep stick. We don't really see ultimate orb items on Shaker all that often. Typically tends to be a lot poorer than usual. It's an awkward item, especially after a shadow amulet. It's not really a casual item, the amulet.
I'm a little disappointed that he didn't upgrade to the Glimmer Cape. I think it's still a worthy item, even though the magic damage from Vici game potential isn't that great. It's still great to be able to put that onto an ally. Maybe it's a Lincoln Sphere to apply to the Shadow Fiend, so they can't get the Blink Winter's Curse Initiation on the Shadow Fiend or the Storm Spirit. That could also hold its merits, but yeah, in general, it is a little awkward to see just a casual amulet. Maybe it'll set up something great, but ooh, I actually really like this item coming up from Energy Pacemaker. It's an Agnum Scepter for Naga. It's not something we've ever seen, I want to say, or at least I haven't in a professional game, but the amount of sustain that it gives you is absolutely ridiculous. 42% HP regen when you're pushing high ground after that reset can completely turn around the engagement.
I'm gonna be honest, when you said Aghanim Scepter on Naga Siren, I had no idea what you were talking about.
Oh.
Because, well, yeah, they're gonna play games with Storm Spirit, but he has like 1,000,000 mana, so he's fine. Yeah, this is, I think this was one of the newest additions to Naga Siren. Usually we see, what's it called? The Soul Booster Octarine Core on Naga Siren as a late game item, but I think that's more for the cores, but having your super low cooldown on the Siren also very annoying, especially with this Aghanim Scepter. Roshan gonna be attempted right now. Beastmaster charging the front, not quite gonna do it just yet. There's a track now into Old Chicken. He still has the cheese from previous Roshan, so it's eventually gonna be EP to make this go in, but look at this positioning from the Winter Wyvern. He's in perfect position right now. Old Chicken's just going to charge the front. Now Roshan, once again, just going to be stolen. How many times do they have to do that before they learn? Lynn's going to get roared up. I can't see Jack. RP's already been used, but no one's actually dying. Earthshaker's dead. Winter Wyvern's dead. Old Chicken's surrounded by a whole bunch of heroes. He's going to pop the cheese. Try to man fight up against Gyrocopter, but there's an MKB constantly interrupting. That Requiem, Fawn's going to jump in, has not much more mana, but he has the Aegis with the Missile Chain Stun. He'll die as well. This is not fun to watch. Storm Spirit should be up soon. I think he should be fine unless he gets permabashed, and he will get permabashed almost completely. He can get up to the high ground. They don't quite have enough to kill him off. He's way down to the south, in fact. I think he's fine. I got like 10 frames out of that last team fight. I don't know, dude.
I got about twice as many frames as you did, so there is some improvement on my end. That was the Abyssal used by the Bristleback, so the chances of killing the Storm were a little bit higher. He didn't get the bash that they needed. But now your 6 slots are coming out from the Shadow Fiend as well as the Storm Spirit. At the very least, they will shortly. Shadow Fiend is going to purchase himself up a Reaver. Alright, so he's going to be going for probably the most defensive build I've seen on a Shadow Fiend, or that you can feasibly go for. He also has a Moon Shard eaten as well.
I guess if you get the Moon Shards and that's like an offensive item and then a defensive item, you're kind of just balancing the whole thing out. I think end result of that fight, VG, they, well, again, they get their Aegis and cheese stolen, but they do take out the Aegis. Did cheese stick? Yes, Naga Siren still has that cheese. Probably going to ship it over to the Shadow Fiend or the Storm Spirit or someone like that, but VG, they still actually win the fight. EP, as nice as it is to grab the Aegis and cheese, it's still just like a defensive steal. They're not really in a great position to go aggressive with that type of itemization, and now it's even VG. They know about it. They're just like, okay, well, let's just push mid lane. Let's see what we can do. They don't have Magnus there, which is a little bit awkward. Is this just like a bluff push? Because Magnus doesn't have travels or anything. He can't join this.
It looks like a bluff push. They're going to apply a little bit of pressure, but that's about it. There's an Invis Rune on the Gyrocopter, so if anybody farms this, maybe they'll get caught out. And well, there's a a Beastmaster there, but he's just going to flack down the creep wave and actually continue on pushing. Magnus has since joined the fray, and they're going to commit. This is a really weird time for them to go for this push, but let's see what Energy Pacemaker can actually make of this. If they get clumped and get cut out by an Echo Slam, the initiation power of Energy Pacemaker is immense, but Why go for this of all times? They're gonna get the Abyssal Blade. They're focusing on Old Chicken. Will the damage be there? He pops the BKB and now turns and fights. Yes, Satanic. And we'll be able to do plenty of damage to the heal coming off of the Aghanim Scepter of Naga Siren, but the 3-man RP turn around with Shiva's Guard, pulling him back in. They'll kill off that Naga very quickly. Blink and Echo is going to catch out too. In return, the damage from Old Chicken is more than enough, and he still has his Satanic, although the Winter Wyvern is going to help out the Gyrocopter. It's going to wear off too soon for him. The Requiem on round 4 stepped into it. What a play, and they're going to be able to kill off that Gyrocopter in a heartbeat. Triple kill for Old Chicken and a buyback forced out by the Bristleback. Great fight by Energy Pacemaker.
You don't really see fights where you get hit with such a huge RP and a Winter's Curse on everyone, and you're still able to turn that one around. That's 4 deaths and a buyback from the Bristleback, whereas for EP, they lose the Naga Siren. She did her job pretty much perfectly. I wasn't keeping a really close eye on the health status of EP before the song, so I don't really know if that Aghanim Scepter did work, but hey, just the setup alone really gave them quite a bit of an edge there, and Shadow Fiend staying alive through his purely defensive build. Suddenly VG, they have no buybacks. Lincoln Sphere on Gyrocopter, it's nice and everything, but at this point you'd rather have a Gyrocopter without Lincoln Sphere than no Gyrocopter at all, as the bottom lane and even the top lane are in trouble right now. As farmed as this Bristleback is, he cannot take on the entirety of EP, and this looks like it will be double Raxes for the EP side. This is why, guys, you save for buyback, because this could, for the most part, be avoided if Gyrocopter had a double life right now. That's mid lane destroyed. Old Chicken's going to go straight towards the bottom lane, whereas Fawn's going towards top. He's going to take down melee and range. Looks like no one's going to mess with him there. They're slowly but surely destroying all the Raxes, looking for Megas. Old Chicken now Yang getting into a fight. Skewer's going to completely miss. Blink forward, they're going to try to chance the Yang, but he has his back turned, it looks like, to Old Chicken. I'm not sure. Maybe Old Chicken's kind of dropping. There's an RP, I think, onto 2, but then there's a Song of the Siren. Now Old Chicken's getting so much extra regen. Song of the Siren, Aghanim Scepter, OP. Old Chicken's still alive right now. Range Rax, the last structure left before Megas, and it looks like they're going to bum rush it. They take it down. No one on VG is really dying right now. They have the Gyrocopter back from the dead, but where is he? He's getting into this fight a little bit too late. Now Megas are going to start to flood the base of VG. I don't know what's happening. Old Chicken's still alive, I guess. And he's going to fight to his last breath, but he will go down. Lots of EP heroes very weak, but it looks like they will all make a clean disengage. That's Megas claimed in one push. And China, why?
Shadow Fiend does have buyback, however, and the Magnus doesn't, so VG Gaming can't really go for the Deathball push that they need to actually end this game in their favor. That one engagement in mid lane is what lost them the game, and I think, I hate to point fingers, but Bounty Hunter, he force-staffed the Gyrocopter into the Requiem of the Shadow Fiend, finishing him off before he's able to pop the Satanic. It really messed things up for them. He was in a bad way beforehand, but that was just kind of the nail in the coffin, and also not saving for buyback is really what put VG Gaming in this situation. The idea to go for that push as well when they did was also a little bit awkward. This game is not over, but it's very close to it.
Yeah, I think the fact that they went for that push is fine, except for the fact that Gyrocopter had no buyback. Like, that was an all-in push, where an all-in play was not nearly needed. Up until that play, VG had, I don't know if it was an advantage, it was like barely an advantage, whatever, but they had a lot of momentum, they had a firm grasp over the game. They do have a really good lineup at dealing with Megas. They have a Magnus, who is, the perfect hero. That's what you want. They have a Bristleback, who will get value out of that cleave. And, of course, they have that Gyrocopter. But EP, like, at a certain point, they could just slow siege with the Mega Creeps, with Naga Siren Illusions, mess with them with the Song, constantly look for small pickups now with the Sheep Stick up on the Shaker. VG, they're not going to make this all-in desperation doom push, and I think that is not the correct decision. I don't see them winning a super elongated game unless Gyrocopter finds himself with a Divine Rapier.
Absolutely, and although they can hold out against these creeps indefinitely, they do have great heroes for it. They have a Vlad's on the bounty, they have Empower for the Bristleback to give him cleave, and Gyrocopter, some of the best heroes to deal with these absolutely ridiculous creeps. Actually, winning the fight is a different story entirely.
Alright, so is it just a race now? Can Gyrocopter get the Divine Rapier before EP win the game? Even though like a Gyrocopter with Divine Rapier isn't guaranteed for VG to hold, like not by any stretch, he could very easily get picked off even with that item. That's their only play when they're in this type of situation. Like, they're holding the Mega Creeps pretty darn well, but not losing and winning, it's again not the same thing, and sooner or later EP are actually gonna add some heroes to this push, and it looks like they're going to decide to go down bottom lane. Hell, they could go through all lanes if they really want to.
Stormsphere is also sitting on 8,500 gold after that fight, picking up so many of those kills. Honestly, I'd love to see him pick up a Moon Shard as pretty much a mandatory pickup, but he's going to ball in and then go straight for the mid lane. Ethereal Blade Dagon kills off the Wyvern. If Dagon 5 is enough, Ethereal Blade sure as hell is, and he'll be able to get home safely. This game is not really winnable for Vici Gaming potential if things like that keep on happening. It's going to be a slow and painful death, sure, if there's not a big engagement, but it's going to be a death nonetheless.
And he has no buyback either. Magnus once again on the hunt with the Shadow Blade. He's going to jump forward. RP1. Refresh available. RP going to catch 2, but suddenly everyone's sleeping, and the 2 targets are going to be at full HP. Old Chicken is just fine. He's going to, in fact, pick off dogfights right now, but even if they don't win this fight, they're stalling this fight so that the Mega Creeps can do their work. They're focusing on Lin. Old Chicken getting bashed down, in fact, by Yang, but he's going to survive right now. Pops the Satanic. Suddenly, he's back at full HP. They also lock down the Gyrocopter. He's down for 99, has buyback, but that's not going to be relevant. I think EP have done it as they win 1 frame at a time. This is exhilarating. Okay, well, apparently they beat the game.
An incredibly back-and-forth game from both of these teams. The engagements were really topsy-turvy, and all it took was one mistake coming out from Vici Gaming potential to throw away their advantage. At a certain point, it felt like Energy Pacemaker couldn't win any of the engagements. We questioned some of their item pickups, but they pulled through in the end. Energy Pacemaker going to be looking really happy when it comes to the standings inside the entire tournament. They're currently sitting at 3-1, if I'm not mistaken, almost guaranteed a slot inside the playoffs.
Okay, well, my webcam apparently is just not working, so I'm not even going to touch that anymore. It's broken, guys. It's fine. I don't know if I'm even going to fix it, but yeah, Energy Pacemaker going to take their win. I don't know, again, if any of these, like, Wikipedia or Ghosty Gamers are actually updated at this point. Looks like it kind of is, but EP, yeah, they still have a chance, at the very least. There are going to be a couple teams that are essentially eliminated from the runnings, as I think 4 losses, and that means you're just out, just because it's only top 4 to move on. But yeah, we're still not done quite yet. I don't know if TV1 or TV1 is still in the middle of the game. We're probably going to have a little bit of a break, and we're probably going to host over until then, guys. But if you did enjoy the game, if you did enjoy the cast, it was a long, grueling one. You can follow us at Mikelorus, at GrandisV for myself and my co-casters, respectively. Yeah, all my shit is just going off right now. Again, I blame China, but yeah, we will go into a decent-sized break, actually. So yeah, go to HeflaTV 1, twitch.tv/HeflaTV 1 if you want to see more games. We'll host over there.